All right, what's going on? Let's get right into it. Woke up this morning. First thing I had to do was watch that fight again. Okay, first thing I did this morning is watch the fight again. All right. I knew the review I did last night wasn't going to be popular. I already saw on social media, plus the people that I know personally that watched the fight, all said Thurman won, and it was all they all said it was pretty clear. Like most people were saying, like 8-4 for Thurman. All right, on average. All right. I don't know. For some reason in the building, I thought it was a draw. I thought it was a competitive fight. Okay. I thought Thurman gave away the last 2 or 3 rounds. All right. Um, in the building, maybe like I said, the crowd was definitely there to support Danny Garcia. At least the majority of the crowd. Okay. Danny fought in Brooklyn. I don't know what it was. All right. But what I'm gonna say here, all right, and it is what it is. All right, out of all the reviews I've ever done on this channel, I've never been so wrong. Like I've watched fights before and went back and saw it for a second time, and it might have changed maybe 2 or 3 of the rounds. I might have been like, I think this fight, watching it again, I think it might have been a close fight, whatever. This fight I've never seen. This fight was a straight. I don't even think it was that hard to call, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, I think Keith Thurman clearly won the fight. Clearly. And I mean, it was so clear that I stopped scoring. I can't even give you a score. I'm not even giving you a scorecard because I had Thurman up so many rounds. I can see why he took it easy the last 2 or 3 rounds. Now I see why. Because he was really up. And people were telling me this last night. And I'm like, man, I don't know what y'all seeing, but I don't know. I thought this fight was a close. I thought this was a close fight, you know, and I watched it this morning, and I think I gave Danny the second round, and even that round was debatable. Even that round, a lot of people still gave it to Thurman, but I gave Danny that round, and after that, it was just like, I mean, if I'm gonna give Danny a round, I have to really like be generous, you know. Thurman, I could Thurman is exposed Danny Garcia. I don't even know how it was a split decision. I mean, that judge might have been right. That other judge that gave it to Danny probably was seeing a fight I was seeing live. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the crowd. Okay, because I'm going to tell you in the building, whatever Danny threw, whether it landed or didn't land, the crowd went crazy. I'm letting you know now. Maybe that had something to do with my pick. I don't know. All right, I'm not going to make excuses. It is what it is. Keith Thurman, I apologize. And I'm saying Keith Thurman, I apologize to Keith Thurman because I actually said in the video yesterday that based on his performance last night, I don't think he has a shot at beating either Kell Brook or Errol Spence. Boy, was I wrong. He looked very impressive last night. All right. Um, I don't know what I was watching last night. I wasn't drunk, so I know some of you could come on here and snap on me. I don't care. I wasn't drunk. I mean, I don't know what I saw last night, but Keith Thurman definitely won that fight last night. And I was very hard on him last night when I made my review. Um, he did he looked very impressive last night. Okay. Um, I mean that was one of the better Keith Thurmans I've seen in recent fights. That was probably the best I've seen Keith Thurman in a long time. All right, since maybe Julio Diaz or something. I think he looked better fighting Danny and outboxing the way he did last night than he did in the Collazo fight and he did in the Porter. There was definitely a Porter fight, all right, because that's a fight that could have gone either way. The Porter fight, the Danny fight. Um, maybe on par. It's probably on par with the Guerrero fight. I want to say that. Let me not go crazy, but Danny was exposed. If you didn't think Danny was that good, if you thought Danny was overrated going into this fight for these reasons, exactly, like he looked very slow. Okay, he, I can't believe I was so off, man. I was very off. Yo, I've made some unpopular videos on here. I remember the Uniesquez Gonzalez fight against John Pascal. I was one of the few people that thought Pascal I don't know if I said Pascal won, or I don't know if I said it was a draw. I know a lot of people were saying Gonzalez won and Pascal Gonzalez got robbed or whatever. But I watched that fight again, and I stuck to what I said. Whatever was, I can't remember if I thought Pascal won or I thought it was a draw. But I stand by that. But this fight, I was yo I was way off on this one. The Keith Thurman, the combinations, the volume, you know, man, it's just like he just stepped in and stepped out over and over again and threw his combinations, and Danny just couldn't catch him. At times, he timed them, like I said, but a lot of shots that I thought landed last night live didn't really land. You know, like I said, the crowd went crazy with anything Danny threw last night. All right, and they were very upset that you saw the video I put up. And I didn't even post the whole thing. The crowd was booing hard. Oh man, they were like, I don't know. But I think Keith Thurman won the fight. I think he looked very impressive winning. Like I said, the only issue I have is the last 3 rounds because listen, I think Keith was winning enough. Like it was clear to me that watching it this morning that Danny Garcia had nothing for Keith Thurman. But it was also clear to me that Keith Thurman just couldn't hurt Danny. All right. Keith Thurman, big puncher, but I don't know if it's because of the injury. I don't know what. I mean, he seems to still be very fast. He's very fast on his feet. He has fast hands. It just doesn't seem like he hits as hard as he was when he was fighting lesser opponents. I don't know if it's because of injuries. I don't know if it's because of level of opposition. You fight better guys and they have better chins. It is what it is. But I get it. But I don't think he needed to play it that safe, But I can see why he played it safe because he was up so much. He probably thought he was up so much that like, why am I going to throw it away? But I didn't think Danny just couldn't get it. He just couldn't get it together, and he did land his good shots here and there, but it just wasn't enough. His volume was so low. Keith Thurman was like the Energizer Bunny. He just kept, he just coming at Danny. And when Danny landed a shot here and there, it was on. Even in the post fight video that he did or interview that he did, he said himself. He said he should have been throwing better, more combinations, stop landing just one shot, which is true. But even if he did throw the combinations, Keith Thurman wasn't going to be there. Keith Thurman was in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And Danny was just too slow. Danny's way too slow. He's way too slow. And he never did well against movers. He didn't look good against Peterson. He couldn't really handle Herrera's, punch and grab technique. He couldn't deal with that, the feints and, the awkwardness of it was very hard for him to time Herrera. But if you ever questioned Danny Garcia's talent, you saw it last night. Last night was it. Like last night was, you're not gonna get away with this one. I can't believe it was a split decision. I'm watching it again. Now, I can see why everybody thinks that they were trying to rob Keith Thurman. I don't think that they were. I don't really think that they were trying to rob Keith Thurman. It's just that I think they like to do this thing where, guys lose and guys lose and like their young stars lose, but they want to make it a split in order uh, to make it look like it wasn't a bad loss. When you look at the record, when you see Floyd and Canelo, when you saw that one of the judges gave it to Canelo, I thought it was a draw or whatever. It was a majority decision, I believe. They made it look like, let's not make it look so bad. And regardless of how I thought, I thought it was a draw. I understand. But, man, I mean, the judges are right there. And from what I saw this morning and what everybody else saw, because I stood alone on this one. me and other the people that were in the building, I guess. Outside of that, a bunch of strangers that I don't know, everybody on the internet and social media, and even people that I know and like really know in real life, they all thought Thurman clearly won, and they were like, "What are you doing? What are you talking about? Thurman is winning this fight. What are you watching?" You know. Uh, so anyway, that's the only issue I had with Thurman. I thought Thurman could have just clearly beat him all 12 rounds. Like, why even give him 3 rounds? If you think he lost those rounds, why even give Danny those rounds? Like, Danny clearly wasn't a match for him. I think he played it too safe. But he didn't need a knockout at that point. But I didn't think he was gonna knock Danny out anyway. But Danny just wasn't he wasn't in Keith Thurman's class. You know, and it was very unfair for me to say that Keith Thurman can't stand. He wouldn't stand a chance against Spencer Brook. All right, I definitely gotta take that statement back. But anyway, that's it. I want to keep it short and sweet. I don't need to go around. I don't need to give you a round by round review. I was clearly wrong. Eat crow or whatever it is that I still don't know what that means, but everybody likes to say that on here. I'll eat crow. I picked Thurman to win by unanimous decision, and after watching it, I think he won by unanimous decision. I can't believe it was a split decision after watching it again. Um, so anyway, let me know what you guys think. Drop the comments in the videos, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.